Hey everyone, welcome to Bike Revs. I'm Mark and this is my DJI Mini Pro 3. Now I bought this thing to make some exciting shots for the YouTube channel, but quite honestly it's not really living up to what I wanted it to do. Now before I go on and explain what the problems are, let me just say that this is by far and away the most fantastic piece of kit I've ever bought. I mean, a smartphone's good, but you need a phone. You don't really need one of these, so if you're going to buy something that's a bit frivolous, this is like the apex gadget. It's fantastic. I mean, the quality of the shots that it takes, the ease with which you can fly it. I mean, I'm not doing anything and it's just standing there or flying there. It's incredible, it really is. And I've got friends who do hill walking and mountain climbing, and on the weekends they go up to the top of a peak somewhere, they send the drone out and it looks back at the enormity of everything they've just conquered. But for me, what I wanted it to do was to follow my bike, take great shots of me riding, some good action shots, and honestly, it's really not living up to it. Now, I can justify that, at least to myself anyway, by saying that this thing has sat in a box next to my bed since April, and it is now October. So let's have a look at some of the challenges I've faced with trying to film myself with this on the bike, and then you'll see why this thing's about to go onto eBay, and I'm going to buy something that's altogether more suited to what I want to do. As I mentioned, the cost of this drone, you're not getting any change from £1,000, and the reason I went for one that's this expensive is quite simple really. It's got the features that I need. So one is it has this kind of follow me feature. I can't remember what the exact name of it is, but it's got the ability to track me and fly after me automatically, which is great. It's also got the ability to avoid obstacles, and that's also quite useful, particularly in the Cotswolds. As you can see, most of the roads around here are quite heavily tree lined, so if I want to ride somewhere on a road bike, I'm generally going to find a tree or a telegraph pole. So I need a drone that can avoid all these things automatically, and the DJI Mini Pro 3 or whatever it is able to do that. So I'm going up to a place now anyway, which is the only place I can think of that hasn't got too many trees, because I want to try and do a couple of different things getting the drone to follow me. I want to see how fast I can go. I've got a rough idea what the answer to that is, and I also want to see if it works in sport mode. Now the problem with this drone is, one of the problems that I've found, if I put it in sport mode it flies extremely quickly. That doesn't mean it can follow me at that speed, and also crucially it doesn't have obstacle avoidance when it's in sport mode. So I'm going to see if I can put it in sport mode. If there's no trees, it doesn't need to avoid any obstacles. So I'm going up to a place where there's no trees. Well, that gives me another problem, because I'm going up to the top of a hill. As you can see, I'm climbing up this road. Well, the place I'm going to is quite high up, and it's a little bit windy today, so I'm hoping it's not too windy. And I'm also looking up at the sky, and there's a lot of thunderclouds and dark looking clouds up there. So I'm hoping that it's not going to rain as well, because either of those two things, too much wind or too much rain, and it's game over. So let's get on up there and see what we can do. We're all set up, the drone's in front of me, and I've got the controller here. Now I'm going to show you the first problem that you get with one of these, which is that I can now set the drone up ready to fly, okay, get the propeller spinning. Once it's behind me and it's following me, the issue I've got is, what do I do with this? What do I do with the controller? So I put all the other stuff back in my bag. Now, obviously if I start moving any of these control levers, it'll affect the flight of the drone. I don't want to touch the screen or anything, so I've got to do something with the screen. Now I can't hold it and ride the bike. It's impossible. So I've come up with the answer, which is this thing on the back. And this thing on the back is a little GoPro type clip, which has got this adapter that goes and is screwed into the back of the controller. Now these screws are tiny when you unscrew them. They're like M1 or M2 type sort of screws or bolts that hold it in, and the first set I had actually shook themselves free, so those have been put in with some thread lock so it holds it in place, and then what I can do from there is put that onto the bike. Now I'm not very happy about having that on my bike, but needs must, and that allows me to put the controller so I can ride off sort of hands-free, and I'm actually going to have to ride without my gloves, which I don't like doing. There's another problem. Otherwise I can't use the touchscreen, and I find it very difficult to control it. So let's get the thing in the air There's a car coming towards me, so I'm just going to wait for that. I'm going to get it in the air and then get it behind me and get it following me. See how we go. Yeah, a little bit windy. Come on, you can do it. Come on, little drone. It's 11 miles an hour and it's still doing okay. No sudden movements because it's going to lose me. 16 miles an hour. That's pretty good so far. I'm doing 20 miles an hour and I've lost it. So here we are from the drone perspective, and you can see I haven't got the drone too high in the sky, so it's got the best chance possible of following me. But even so, you know, we only get up to that sort of 18, 19 miles an hour and it then loses me. And if I was to do any sudden movements, it would lose me a lot quicker. I guess really this would be a lot better if you were riding a push bike or if you were walking. There she is. Phew. Always a bit relieved when I see it. So let's go on up there. Let's see if I can go up in the air. I'll see if it'll track me like that. No, I don't think it will. But it might keep me in the middle of the screen, you never know. So what I didn't explain very well there is that the drone is off up into the air to my left hand side and I'm trying to get it to track right to left, and it's not doing too bad a job, but then once again it just loses me. So back the drone right up, get some height on it and then get it so that it's looking downwards and I get one of those lovely shots of me riding through. Here we go. Visor down. I'll put some S-bends in. Now then, at this point it's quite hard to see what's on the screen because it's quite shiny, and also I'm obviously keeping my eyes on the road. So let's have a look at that from the drone's perspective, and I did manage to get some of the S-bends in there, so that's not too bad and could be a useful little video clip. Well, you couldn't make this up, but I just done a load of runs up and down here and then realised that my GoPro wasn't working, so I had to do the old thing where I had to take the battery out and then put it back in, and to do that I had to remove it from my helmet. So an absolute pain. Anyway, I'm going to try again now. So what I'm going to do, make sure the drone's recording to start with. Get the old propellers going and get her up in the air. And then back up a bit. Right, if I draw a line around myself, it recognises me, and then I can go active track and go, and this will now track me up the road. I reckon I can do about 14 to 15 miles an hour before it loses me. Okay, so once again I've got the drone up in the sky, not too far behind me, not too high up, and I'll also, at this point, I'm quite well contrasted against the road and the countryside because I'm all in black and obviously the road's quite light, you can see. So I think it's got the best chance of tracking me. I'm going in a straight line, and actually I managed to get this one up to about 18 or 19 miles an hour before it loses me. So not a bad shot, but again, it's not the most exciting piece of drone footage you're ever going to see, me travelling fairly slowly on a motorcycle. Now I reckon it can chase me a little bit quicker in sport mode. We shall see. Right, so click into sport mode, that's a piece of cake. Spin around. Get me as the centre of attention where I love to be. Active track. Go. Right, sport mode, let's see what we can do. "20 miles an hour, it's still catching me, it's still tracking me. I'm actually managing to get up 25 miles an hour. I'll have to stop by the trees though, that's for sure. Oh, we got it to 30 there, and I think it's finally lost me. Oh, actually, it's following me by the trees now. That's quite fun. Oh, is it going to hit a tree? So yeah, it followed me really well in sport mode, getting up to a decent speed, but rather stupidly I rode underneath this set of trees and the drone headed straight for it. Now it actually looks like it manages to avoid the trees as if it's doing something in order to try and avoid them, but I'm pretty sure it can't do that in sport mode because it's travelling too fast. But maybe I'll go back to the instruction manual and check on that one. And here's another clip on the way back, me travelling right to left, just straight through the shot without actually moving the camera, which obviously works really well. And now a clip of me riding left to right with the drone tracking me as I go. And again, it starts off by doing a pretty good job of it. But as soon as I start to get any sort of speed up and my angle towards the camera changes, then once again it loses me and off I go into the distance. So how about if I try manually tracking it instead? Because after all, I've got the controller sitting right in front of me. So here I go then, manually tracking, trying to ride a bike and watching the screen at the same time. Really shouldn't be doing things like that on the road, and the results are absolutely abysmal. Maybe with a lot more practice that might get easier, but not for now. One thing I haven't mentioned yet is people's attitude to drones. Many do not like them, and my local village Facebook page lights up at the hint of a drone flying near somebody's house, and I myself have been thrown off a college grounds. Long story, but basically I was waiting for my daughter to finish her Sunday gymnastics club, and I thought I'd take advantage of the massive empty playing field behind her. At least up until the point at which an irate teacher came barrelling across the field and asked me very unpolitely to leave because he thought I was spying on them. If he had checked my footage, the only thing he would have seen was me running up and down a field with a drone in pursuit. I've also seen these muppets on TikTok who rock up at government sites and make themselves a pain by quoting various laws and demanding to fly over. It all just adds up to the public's poor perception of drones and what the pilots are up to. As you can tell, I'm no drone expert and I've only got limited time and even less attention span to spend too much effort learning the nuances of creating awesome drone videos. Even today, I spent hours of filming and got through 3 batteries just to end up with the average clips you can see on this video. I'm exhausted from the whole thing, and at the end of the day, my hobby is motorcycling, and I'd rather be riding than faffing about with a very expensive piece of Chinese technology, no matter how fabulous it might be. My mates were also of the same mindset too. One of the reasons for getting this was to film us ripping through the Spanish desert, but after carting all this kit out there, the whole area was geofenced, and that meant I wasn't able to take off. Now the drone just wouldn't leave the ground, and sure, I could have linked it to my phone and got some kind of registration code for takeoff, but do you think the other 5 blokes were going to hang about whilst I do that? Well, of course not, and I literally didn't see them for dust. Now, I'll say it again, this is a marvel of technology, and a version 4 of this drone is now out, but I suspect, like this one, it would be completely wasted on the likes of me. There are many cases where it would simply be superb if you're hill walking, hiking, mountain biking, motorbike trials, horse riding, or even just as a hobby itself, but honestly not for somebody who wants to film road riding at any speed. There are better options, so now it's time to say goodbye to the drone and start doing some research on the Insta360 on one of those long poles hanging off the back of the bike. I mean, what could possibly go wrong with that? Anyway, ride safe everyone, and keep your chain oiled. I'll see you all soon. Okay, that was rubbish. Gosh, stalled my bike now. You see how hard this is? I don't even know where it is now. Oh, blimey, 10-point turn, here we go. Austin Powers styling. Oh, I've just got off the road.